Have you ever heard the story of the girl in the bathroom? In Japan, there's an urban legend about a young girl named Kashima Reiko. The story goes that she was tragically attacked and left to die on some train tracks. A train came and severed her legs from her body. Now, her vengeful spirit, a torso with no lower half, wanders the world, searching for her missing legs. They say she often appears in bathroom stalls late at night. If you're using a public restroom and you hear a voice ask, "Where are my legs?" you must answer, "On the Maijin Expressway." If she then asks, "Who told you that?" you have to reply, "Kashima Reiko told me." Get it wrong, and she might just take your legs instead. So next time you're alone in a bathroom, be careful what you hear. Have you ever heard the story of the goatman? It's one of those legends that feels a little too real, whispered around campfires and passed down through generations. Most people dismiss it as just another boogeyman, a story to scare kids. But what if it's more than that? What if the goatman is real, and he's still out there, lurking in the shadows of our world? The most famous version of the legend comes from Maryland, specifically Prince George's County. They say it all started at the Beltsville Agricultural Research Center. The story goes that a scientist, a man named Stephen Fletcher, was working on a strange experiment. He was trying to cross the DNA of a goat with that of his assistant, William Lotz. It sounds crazy, I know, but this was the kind of fringe science that people whispered about in the dead of night. As you can imagine, the experiment went horribly wrong. Instead of a scientific breakthrough, a monster was born. A creature that was half man, half goat. It had the body of a man, but the hairy legs, hooves, and horned head of a goat. This creature, consumed by a rage it couldn't understand, escaped the lab. Some say it slaughtered the scientists who created it before vanishing into the surrounding woods. After its escape, sightings began to pop up. People driving down secluded country roads like Fletchertown Road or Lotsford Road would report seeing a monstrous figure standing by the side of the road, its eyes glowing in their headlights. Then came the darker stories. Pets started disappearing. First cats and dogs, then larger animals. Locals would find strange tracks and gruesome remains in the woods, far from what any known predator would leave behind. One of the most chilling tales involves a group of teenagers. It's a classic setup, right? A bunch of kids looking for a thrill, daring each other to go looking for the goatman. They drove out to the old Crybaby Bridge, a place already steeped in its own tragic folklore. They parked the car, turned off the engine, and started calling out for the goatman, laughing and joking. It was a deep, guttural bleat, mixed with something that sounded unervingly human, then a scraping sound. Like an axe being dragged across the pavement, panic set in. When they finally got to a well-lit area and stopped to check the damage, they saw deep gouges in the metal, as if made by horns, and a single cloven hoofprint in the mud on the bumper. The story doesn't end there. Another tale, perhaps even more terrifying, concerns a young couple who decided to camp in the woods near Beltsville. They'd heard the legends, but they were skeptics, city folks who thought it was all just local superstition. They pitched their tent, built a fire, and settled in for the night. Sometime after midnight, the girlfriend was woken by a strange noise. It sounded like someone or something was circling their tent. She woke her boyfriend, and they both listened in silence. Thump, thump, the sound of heavy hooves on the soft forest floor. Then a low growl, followed by that same horrifying bleat they'd heard stories about. They were frozen with fear. The thing outside began sniffing at the tent, its heavy breathing audible through the thin fabric. Suddenly, a sharp object tore through the side of the tent. It was the point of a crudely made axe. The couple screamed. The axe ripped downwards, shredding the tent open. In the faint moonlight filtering through the trees, they saw it. A towering figure silhouetted against the sky. It had the powerful build of a man, but the shaggy, dark fur of a beast. 2 horns curled from its head, and its eyes burned with a malevolent red glow. It raised the axe. The official story, if you can call it that, is that the couple was attacked by a bear. But the lone survivor, the boyfriend, tells a different story. He says he saw the goatman. He describes how the creature dragged his girlfriend from the tent, how her screams echoed through the woods before being abruptly cut short. He only escaped because he ran without stopping, without looking back, until he collapsed on the porch of a remote farmhouse miles away. He was found the next morning, incoherent and in shock. They never found the girl. Not a trace. These stories paint a picture of a creature driven by pure primal rage. It's not just an animal defending its territory. There's an intelligence there, a twisted, vengeful intelligence. They say the goatman targets teenagers and couples drawn to lovers' lanes and secluded spots. He's often seen carrying an axe, a tool he uses not for chopping wood, but for something far more sinister. Over the years, the legend has grown and spread. Variations have appeared in other states, from Texas to Kentucky. In Louisville, the goatman is said to live under an old railway trestle in an area called Pope Lick. The legend there is that he uses mimicry or hypnosis to lure people onto the tracks, into the path of an oncoming train. It's a different method, but the same malevolent intent. So, what is the truth? Was there really a secret government experiment gone wrong? Or is the goatman something older, something more ancient? Some folklorists believe the story is a modern retelling of ancient myths about satyrs and faun's mythological creatures that were half man, half goat. These beings were often depicted as wild and unpredictable, symbols of nature's untamed power. Perhaps the goatman is our modern version of that, a manifestation of our fear of the dark, unexplored corners of the world that exist right at the edge of our civilized lives. Or maybe, just maybe, it's all real. Maybe Stephen Fletcher did create a monster. Maybe that monster is still out there, aging, growing more cunning, and more hateful with each passing year. Maybe he's the reason for those strange noises you hear at night when you're home alone. The reason you feel a chill run down your spine when you're driving down a deserted road late at night. He is the shadow that flits at the edge of your vision, the whisper on the wind that sounds almost like your name. So the next time you're out in the woods or near an old, forgotten bridge, listen closely. Listen for the snap of a twig that's too heavy for a deer. Listen for a sound that's halfway between a scream and a bleat. And if you see a pair of glowing eyes watching you from the darkness, don't wait to find out what they belong to. Just run, because you might have just found the goatman. And he has definitely found you. Thanks for listening to this chilling tale. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories from the shadows. Stay safe out there and never stop questioning what lurks in the dark.